Hello, it's Vince Danzioni here, and in this video we're going to go through accumulator options which are available exclusively from Deriv, but we're going to look at a little bit more advanced strategies and a few trading tools that you can use. Before we get started, of course, the usual disclaimers: all trading involves risk, and I suggest before you sort of use any of these strategies, you try them with a demo account which is available free, and then when you start trading for real, just start with the minimum size, which is $1. So you can start demo trading, and then you can try with small risk size as well. Also, if you're new to accumulator options, have a look at the previous video I recorded where I go a little bit more in depth into how accumulator options work. All right, so first things, let's go through the various parameters. Now, if we look at this box here, let me up it up a little bit. And by the way, I'm doing this on a desktop, but you can easily obviously trade off a mobile phone. I'm just doing it on desktop because it's just a little bit bigger and easier than on a mobile screen. But everything that I'm showing you now will work on a mobile phone. I'm using the app.deriv.com, so it's basically Dtrader. You don't need to download anything; it will just work straight off. So what I'm showing you in this box here, we've got 5% growth. And of course, we can choose which market we want to trade. At the moment, the popular volatility indices is what you can trade. Nice thing about these, obviously, they're open 24/7. And I've selected the volatility 100 1 second index. So we'll stay with that one for now. Obviously, you can change that. This is the bit that I want to show you, and then I want to go into the actual trading systems. The growth rate. All right, so what this shows you here is what's happened in the previous 100 rounds or so. Now, with 5% growth rate, obviously it's a good growth rate. Each tick's going to move at 5%. But of course, the chances of you being stopped out, because if you remember with accumulator options, if the price hits the higher or lower barrier before you take your profits, you will lose your stake. So the most you can lose obviously is your stake, but you would also lose your accumulated profit. And I'll go through some examples shortly as well. But if we look at the lower, so if you look at how long the trades have lasted for before obviously the barrier got hit, then relatively short. Yeah, so look, 6, 12, 18. Now watch when I go to 1%. 103, 283. Wow, that was a huge one. 195. Now with 1% growth, obviously it's a lot slower. Your maximum tick is 230 ticks. So you might be thinking, well, what happens if I don't take my profits, just let it keep running and it goes up to 283 like this? Well, it would automatically close out at 230. But of course, you'll get paid. Yeah, you get paid your profits, not the same as a losing trade. So lower the growth rate, normally longer the trade will last, or it will stay. But of course, you can close your trade at any time. And then of course we go 2%, we go 3%, 4%, and then you notice what's happening. The amount of ticks that the trade lasted for is going down. Of course, not always. You'll still get, look, 109 on a 4% growth. Then if we go at 5%, you'll see it's going to be the lowest amount of ticks. So what we'll probably do, well, let's start with 1%. So we're going to go with a 1% growth, and then we're going to use, let's use $100 per trade. I'm just using the demo account here, and I'm not going to use the take profit feature. If you remember, this is the feature that allows you to say, right, I want to take the trade automatically when it's $30. I'm just going to leave it as a manual trade. And more importantly, now what we want to do, let's close that box. That doesn't need to be that big. That's just down here. See, it's been running for 200 trades. Now, for some, they will say, oh, I'll wait until the next round. Well, there you go. Oh, we've just got our wish granted. We just went to 3, 4, so we're on next round. All right, so let's hit the buy. And what we're looking for here, and you'll see the profits have started to accumulate. Of course, only on 1%, so it's a relatively slower growth rate. What I've added is two indicators. I've added Bollinger Bands, and I've got the MACD at the bottom. Realistic, they're actually doing very, very similar things. and this is just a tick chart because with accumulators, obviously it's only short term. What we want, if we just stay, let's just concentrate on the Bollinger Band on this trade, then we can look at a little bit more on the next trade. We would rather the trade stay as close as possible to the middle line. So we don't want it bouncing too much too close to either the top or the bottom line, because that can give us an idea that the next one, the next tick is going to see us stopped out. Of course, it's not perfect, doesn't mean it's going to work every time. Now we've still got the trade running here. It's gone 67. Right now it looks okay. It's staying fairly within the range. We have ticked, well, we've got 66 ticks or so far, so we've got to be aware. And now we're starting to get a little bit close, but no, I'm still pretty happy with that. Now we've started, you start to go a little bit crazy there. You know what? I'm going to take my profit there. So I'm going to sell, and that's not bad. That was obviously, we started with 100. We closed the contract 221, so there's 120 profit there. In fact, the trade you can see is still running. It's actually gone to 100, but when I started seeing a little bit more of that volatility, I just took the profit there manually. And of course, that's the nice thing. You can always take it. You can take it. And there, did you see it? It crashed. So, okay, I left a few ticks on the table, but you know what? Better do that than watch it all sort of disappear. Okay, so that's, and you can save these as templates. So if I go to indicators, and I've added the Bollinger Bands, you click here, you can see, you can change any colors you want, you fill or whatever, that's not really important. But period 20, that's normally set as standard. If you want to change the period, you just drag it up and down on this box here, but we'll stay with 20. And then we've gone with the close price, that's fine, the close of each tick, and 2 standard deviations. Moving average, I've gone with exponential, which is probably better for short-term fast-moving markets. So you've got to remember with a accumulator option, the trade typically is going to last maybe 30 seconds, a minute. I think our last trade lasted about 30 seconds. So exponential will work better, and done. And you'd have to keep resetting that. You can save that as a template, which is here. And then the second indicator I've got, and I don't advise going more than 2. In fact, you might just want to go with 1 indicator. I've just gone with a MACD, and that's the standard 12, 26, 9. Now, you can, of course, use any variation you want. I've seen people get standard colors. And the fast MA is the 12, the slow MA period is 26, and the signal period is 9. I've seen people double that up, use 24, 56. But as I say, you can use anything you like, but I'll just stay with standard on there. And very much what the MACD is doing, it's pretty much going the same with the Bollinger Band anyway. But some people might prefer it. That's the thing about trading with systems. You can go with what preference suits you. You know, you might like a different color or a different time frame. But as I say, I'm just going to keep these 2 on here. What I'm going to go with this trade, and we might end up with a losing trade here, but you know, I don't mind that, because I actually want to show you some, you know, in reality what happens. I'm going to go with a 5% growth. So I've gone with 5. We've just started a new round here. There you go. It's just, you see it just click there back. I'm going to open a new trade now. But here we're probably going to take our profit after maybe 3 or 4 ticks. Because if we overstay our welcome, I'm going to go there. So, all right. So you saw that was a much faster trade. And we ended up with $88 of profit. And again, on 100, 88% profit, that's not bad. And then you see now we've started on the next round. Remember what I said about with a higher growth rate, your trades are not going to last as long. Look, again, did you see it went back to 0? Let's go again. And you see how we're stepping up much faster here. The $100 is working faster. And again, I think what happened with there, yeah, you see what happened with there? I went to close the trade, but it actually already lost, which is fine. I don't mind showing you a losing trade. So, and then you see what it said? It said unknown. But I saw that basically what I'd done, I'd hit the sell, and it had actually already zeroed out. But do you see what's going on now? Trades are lasting quicker, but the growth is also much better. Doesn't say that we can't have a 40-50 tick trade on 5%, but it's, you know, it's all probabilities. So let's go somewhere in the middle. Actually, let's go with 3%. And you see, look, you've got 106 on there. Let's go with that. So it's not going to be as fast as the 5%, but it's not going to be as slow as the 1%. Not a sort of, with all trading, it's a trade-off. It's a mix and match. The other thing you've got to watch as well is obviously your money management, and that lost. You see, at 3%, that lost very, very quickly. In fact, so what you've always got to watch with all trading, I say, is your money management. And you know, if you're starting off with $100, how much of that do you want to risk on each trade? Let's say $5, maybe $10, but you know, you don't want to risk your whole $100 in one trade, because you get 2 or 3 losing trades, and you know, you're not going to survive. So so this one's still running here. All right, that's a little bit better, yeah. So that was the 3% trade, and we roughly recouped our last losing trade. By the way, every trade has, whether you're on a demo account or whether you're on a real account, it's fully audited. Each trade has a reference, when you bought, when you sold. So it's not a case that somebody's sitting there at Deriv and you know, of manipulating the market. I've heard that sometimes. Let me be honest, people that say market, you know, Deriv manipulates prices, they tend to be bad traders or losing traders, and they'll blame anybody but themselves. Yeah, so that trade, for instance, that I just lost on there, you know, I can't blame Deriv for that, because it had already, you know, it already hit the barrier. It's pointless you sort of making out that, oh yeah, they've manipulated it. This is all automated, by the way. There's not some guy somewhere in the Philippines or something sitting there pressing a button. It's all automated. The thousands of trades that they do every day, they can't have, basically. You know, hundreds of thousands of trades. They haven't got somebody sitting there. And then how would they do it? They would just manipulate it one way, and then other clients might have another trade. So in reality, that's not going to work. So that's really it. That one's a little bit more advanced than my previous video. So if you were new and you thought, what's this guy going on about, make sure you check the other video out first, and that will probably explain a little bit more to you. But as I say, I'll post a few more trading ideas as well as these develop. But best thing is, say, give it a try with the demo account, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.